Hi everyone, it's Sahra here. Real quick, I just wanted to give everyone an invitation to this book that I'm reading. I know that right now there is a war happening, and most of us are trying to understand it from the headlines written by people with very little interest in context. And today I wanted to speak a little bit about context. So I've been reading this book called The Coup by Ervand Abrahamian. And it was recommended to me by an Iranian friend who has watched his country be narrated by everyone except Iranians, internationally at least. And what this book does is not just expose a conspiracy, it documents history, documented, declassified, acknowledged history that most of us in America and the greater West have not been taught. Let me ask you something. If the West is the pinnacle of intellectual achievement, of pedagogy, of innovation, of civilizational design, why is its primary foreign policy tool still carpet bombing? Why are the best scientific minds being contracted to build autonomous weapons that are more precise, more lethal, and more deniable than anything before them? What does that tell you about who this system was actually built to serve and who it was built to harm? Because here's what they didn't teach you in school. Iran's oil didn't enter the Western world through diplomacy. It entered through extraction, through concessions that were never freely given, through Anglo-Persian oil, which you know now as BP, backed by British government, with Winston Churchill as one of its architects. This was not a business transaction, this was an empire with paperwork. And when Iran elected a democratic prime minister, Mossadegh, who said simply this oil belongs to Iran and must stay in Iran, the CIA and MI6 removed him. In 1953, Operation Ajax, declassified and admitted by the US government in 2013, 60 years later. Again, not a conspiracy theory, just curriculum that we were denied. We cannot understand Sunni and Shia tensions without the Ottoman Empire. We cannot understand the Ottoman Empire without Mesopotamia. We cannot understand any of this without accepting that this region held world civilization while Europe was still finding its footing. And that, what gets called now the Middle East, is a Western cartographic invention designed to position an entire civilization in relation to somewhere else. When someone on TikTok tells you Iran had scientific achievements for thousands of years and it feels like a revelation, that's not because it's new information. That's because the gap in your education was deliberate. We call it conspiracy when really it's just history that was never taught. A dire miseducation that we are all paying the consequence of. This is not really a matter of opinion. Opinion is the lowest form of engagement with a crisis of this magnitude. And that is why I'm asking you to get informed, to read, to trace the roots, to vote with your voice and your money in ways that are grounded in actual knowledge, not the managed ignorance that keeps this machine going and running. Every corner of the world is feeling the fuel crisis caused by this conflict right now. Every corner. And we are still debating whether it's appropriate to name what we see. Genocide, domination, resource extraction, as if naming it is the radical act and not the actual doing of it. The playbook is not new. It is not sophisticated. It is not a product of superior civilization. It is old. It is brutal, and it is much older than the poor pilgrim Puritans they told you about in New England. Read this book with me. Start there. The conversation can go anywhere, formal or informal. Knowledge precedes division, but ignorance drives in action, and we see that. I will post a link to download the PDF version, so those who want to read along with me do not have to worry about accessibility. Thank you. Peace.